I believed, I began to feel very strongly that I knew I couldn't really be me, the person, Tom Boyd, that God created, unless I was a priest. I realized that I just could not be honest to myself until I became a priest.
I had confirmations from the people around me as I began to get older. The pastor of my parish certainly spoke to me and encouraged me, pointed out what he saw was the strengths of a priest that he had and that other priests had. He also began to identify those in me and be able to point out that call. The call, of course, comes from Christ, and we perceive that in a very personal relationship with him, but also the call comes from the other individuals in our lives. And when he was able to see those strengths in me, he was able to, in a sense, convince me that God had given me those strengths and that these strengths led to a gift that I had to give. It was just what way and through what vocation I was to give those gifts. And over time and through prayer, then I was directed towards the ministry of the priesthood.
We went on and I was, I could say 19, and all the memories, especially one big one that came to my mind, was my best girlfriend in high school. And when she was 19, she had leukemia. And I remember going to visit her in the hospital, and it was like before you had all these classes on pastoral ministry. She was hooked up to all of these different getting blood, and she was almost on it wasn't on a respirator yet, and I just looked at her, black eyes and just filled with so much pain, physical pain. And I remember her parents being there, and when I walked in, they kind of left. And then I looked at her and I said, "You must be suffering so very much. You're in so much pain." And very sincerely, she looked at me and she said, "I'm not really suffering. I'm not in any pain." And I proceeded to say, "You don't have to lie to me. We're best friends." And then this lesson of my life still impacted me, and that's over 50 years ago. She says, there's only one pain, there's only one suffering in life, not to respond to wherever God is calling you to. So I looked at the guy I was dating, I was looking at Carol and her speaking the truth to where, through God, what I was meant to hear. And so that's kind of when I really began to pray and discern whether God was really calling me to be espoused to him within the church.
The pastors that served my home parish growing up, I always looked up to them and wanted to be like them and sensed a real relationship with God through them.
Definitely other people. God works in my life through placing other people who kind of right at the perfect time, and they know, it's like, I don't know, it's hard to describe other than they just kind of plant that seed and spark something. So definitely the words of other people is how I've come to learn, as well as my prayer life. And kind of when those two things overlap is when I really know that it's God's will. So.